All right, congratulations. You have successfully made it to the last section of our year. And so that's going to be 11.5. Apply the distance and midpoint formulas. So I'll go ahead and tell you there's no worksheet for this section. Couldn't really find one that I liked, so we're just gonna roll with the books. There'll be a few more book problems than normal with this section, but that just comes from the fact that there's no worksheet, and I want to make sure you guys get it before the quiz. So I'll be putting this up today, but it's not due till next week. And then as far as the review problems for this section, I'll have a few review problems. And then there'll be a quiz on either Thursday or Friday. I can't remember what I had told you guys or if I'd already decided, but whatever. I will figure that out as we go. So we have two formulas that we're getting today. Okay, distance formula and midpoint formula, which slim chance you've seen it before, but probably not. I don't think that's something you hit in pre-algebra yet. So the concept of it, you've probably seen, but actually doing it, maybe not. So the distance formula is where we're going to start. All right, so this is, well, here, let me draw up a picture first, and then we'll take a look at it. So you're just going to draw quadrant 1 of a plane. Here is what we're going to look at. And then we're going to be looking at this segment here when looking at distance. Okay? So we have the point x1, y1 there, and then up here we have x2, y2. Okay, so just remember the coordinate always goes xy in order. And we're looking for this distance d right here. Okay, but what's happening is that this is kind of looking at the triangle. Okay, so thinking back to the last section a little bit, we're making a right triangle here. So this one is y2 minus y1. Okay, and it's the absolute value of that. And then this one here is x2 minus x1. Okay, so that's just a little bit of background for you. The goal is to find the distance of this line here. So the distance d between any 2 points x1, y1, and x2, y2 is d is equal to the square root of x2 minus x1 squared plus y2 minus y1 squared. So like I said, this kind of looks back to the section before this, okay, because we're given a right triangle here. So this is just something, you don't actually need to write this part down. This is just more like a, hey, look at, this is cool. Okay? So essentially here, we said this is x2 minus x1. So this is going to be x2 minus x1, and it's all squared, plus y2 minus y1, and that's all squared, is equal to d squared. Okay, if we were to just solve the triangle out following our theorem, okay, that's what we would have. But then where this comes from is we take the square root, okay, so we end up with the square root of x2 minus x1 squared plus y2 minus y1 squared is equal to d, or the distance. Okay, so that's where we get that from. Kind of interesting just looking at that in comparison with the triangle that we looked at last section in the Pythagorean theorem. Alright, so this is the distance formula. So what we're going to do is we're going to pause here and we're going to do some distance formula examples. Okay? So, these will be stuff like problems 3 through 14 for right now. Okay? So that's what we're gonna look at using this formula. So it's just literally just plugging stuff in. So problem 4. Okay, and you still have to pay attention to your signs and stuff. Problem 4, we have the 0.5, -9, and 8, -9. Okay. So the first thing I want to do, and I want you guys to do this step, okay, I need to see this step, is that you actually write the formula just as is, okay, so you get in the habit of it. D is equal to the square root of x2 minus x1 squared plus y2 minus y1 squared. And I don't need to draw this triangle with these, okay, because I'm just plugging in numbers. So for right now, this is x1, this is y1, this is x2, this is y2. So, this is equal to the square root of x2 is 8 minus x1 is 5 squared plus y2 is -9. Now this is here, we got to pay attention, minus a -9 squared. So now this is equal to the square root of 8 minus 5 is 3. So 3 squared plus -9 minus a negative is positive. So -9 plus 9 is 0. So that's just going to end up being plus 0. So this is going to be the square root of 9, which is 3. So the distance there is 3. Let's see. Let's look at one like 6. We have 5, 1, and then 0, 3. So again, I'm going to write the formula first. So D is equal to the square root of x2 minus x1 squared plus y2 minus y1 squared. I'm going to go ahead and label these here as x1, y1, x2, y2. Okay, and this is just a good habit to get in general, because the next formula we're going to use follows the same thing where you need to have them labeled out. So this is equal to the square root of x2 is 0 minus x1 is 5 squared plus y2 is 3 minus y1 is 1 squared. So now, this is a -5 squared, okay, is what ends up happening here. We get -5, still in parentheses, squared, plus 3 minus 1 is 2, so 2 squared. So this is the square root of 5 squared is 25, plus 2 squared is 4, and this is equal to the square root of 29, okay? Now, we can't break this up any farther, okay? We don't know what the square root of 29 is without a calculator, so this is where we leave our answer. Okay, we do not give decimal answers. Okay, we'll take points off for that. No decimal answers. Unless it specifically states it, which you'll see that in problems later, but not these type of problems. Alright, let's see. I think I'll do one more of these ones. I will do number 10. Alright, so this is negative 10, 8, and 2, negative 3. So again, D is equal to the square root of x2 minus x1 squared plus y2 minus y1 squared. This is x1, y1, x2, y2. And now I can just fill it in. x2 is 2 minus x1 is negative 10 squared plus y2 is negative 3 minus y1 is 8 squared. Alright, so then I have 2 minus a negative 10, okay, which is 2 plus 10, so this is going to be 12 squared plus negative 3 minus 8 is negative 11 squared. So this ends up being the square root of 12 squared is 144 plus 11 squared is, I always say these wrong, but I'm pretty sure 121 is what I'm looking for. Yeah, 121. So then I just need to add these two things together. Okay, and remember, I can't break these up into two separate things. I have to leave them together. 144 plus 121 is 265. And I don't think I can break that down any farther. According to the book, I can't break it down any farther. I can't think that I do either. So it's the square root of 265 for that one. Alright, so that's the distance formula. So if you would like to, this would be a good place to pause the video and to do the homework for this distance formula problem. So the distance formula homework is going to be 3 through 11 odd, okay? And I am going to add some more for the later stuff, so don't just like stop watching the video here. But if you would like to just stop and focus on this stuff, that's the homework for the distance formula, and then you can pick it back up when you're done with the midpoint formula. If you want to do it in 2 days, that's fine as well, because we probably would have just done this in 1 day in the classroom and then the midpoint in a separate day. So, up to you. But I am going to go ahead and keep talking and do the midpoint formula now. So the midpoint formula then okay, your book draws a good, can't see that. Your book draws a good picture for the midpoint, but I'm going to essentially just show you here a little bit more basic what this is. So I have points A and B, okay, that are at x1, y1, and x2, y2. Okay, the midpoint is exactly halfway between the 2 points. Okay? They call it equidistant or equidistant, but it's just halfway between the 2 points. So, the only thing here that we really have to do, or that we need to comment on, is that this midpoint then, which is what you're going to see in just a second when I write up the formula, is x1 plus x2 over 2, comma, y1 plus y2 over 2. Okay, and I'll comment more on that in just a second, but that's just so you have a rough picture of what that looks like. All right, so the midpoint M of the line segment with endpoints A is at x1, y1, and B is at x2, y2 is, so M is x1 plus x2 over 2, comma, y1 plus y2 over 2. Okay, hopefully you notice that, let me focus this in really quick. Hopefully you notice that this is, that just made it way worse. Hold on. Okay. All better. Okay. Hopefully you notice that this is an ordered pair. Okay? Midpoint is always written as an ordered pair. Okay, if you do not tell me that it's an order, or if you don't write it as an ordered pair, you will not get credit for it. Okay, don't just say x is equal to this and y is equal to this. No, it's got to be just like this. So, the way I would recommend doing these problems is I would recommend when you start plugging in numbers that you actually just leave them in the parentheses the whole way down. Okay, so let's go ahead and do a couple examples of that. So this would be stuff like numbers 22 through 33. Okay, and let me leave the midpoint formula there just for a second while we write it the first time. All right, so we have the problem. If I can get my marker that I want. Start with something easy like 22. We have 0, 1, and 8, 3. So, set up the formula here. So you want to list this off as M, and I'm going to go ahead and draw this as my ordered pair. So x1 plus x2 over 2, y2 plus y1, or wow, y1 plus y2 over 2. Okay, and please don't try to cram this on one little line of notebook paper. Okay, use some space. Write it on a plain sheet of paper. Don't cram it all in one little itty bitty line. Don't try to write everything in this one little line here on your notebook paper. It's really hard to read and it makes it a lot harder for me to grade. Alright, so again we have x1, y1, x2, y2. So now I can just go through and plug stuff in. So x1 is 0 plus x2 is 8 over 2. And y1 is 1 plus y2 is 3 all over 2. So then I get 8 over 2 and 4 over 2. So then M is 8 over 2 is 4 and 4 over 2 is 2. So this would be my answer here. The midpoint is at 4, 2. And so notice it's written as an ordered pair, and I just followed it all the way down. All right, 24 has another 0 in it, so it's a little less exciting, so let's go 26. Negative 6, 6, and 4, negative 4. So again, I'm going to write the formula. x1 plus x2 over 2, y1 plus y2 over 2. And this is x1, y1, x2, y2. So now I can just go through and plug stuff in. x1 is negative 6 plus x2 is 4 over 2. Then y1 is 6 plus y2 is negative 4 over 2. Negative 6 plus 4 is negative 2 over 2. And 6 minus 4 is 2 over 2. So m is negative 2 divided by 2 is negative 1, and 2 divided by 2 is 1. So my midpoint is at negative 1, 1. Alright, so again, these are probably actually easier, to be completely honest with you. There's no squaring or anything being involved, just adding and then dividing by 2. Let's see. How about 30? So 30, we have 12, negative 5, and negative 12, 4. So, write the formula, m of x1 plus x2 over 2, y1 plus y2 over 2, x1, y1, x2, y2. So m of x1 is 12 plus x2 is negative 12 over 2. And then y1 is negative 5 plus y2 is 4 over 2. 12 minus 12 is 0. So 0 divided by 2 is just going to be 0. And then here I have negative 5 plus 4 is negative 1/2. Okay? In your book may write this as 0 and 0.5 or minus 0.5. Okay, either of these would be acceptable answers there. Alright, and then, let's see, let's do one last one, and then I'll give you guys some homework. Well, I still have some room on the paper to write it. Alright, 32 is 18, negative 17, and 12, negative 7. So write the formula, x1 plus x2 over 2, y1 plus y2 over 2. Oh, I need to write x1, y1, x2, y2. x1 is 18 plus x2 is 12 over 2. y1 is negative 17 plus y2 is negative 7 over 2. 18 plus 12 is 30 over 2. Negative 17 minus 7 is negative 24 over 2. And then is 30 divided by 2 is 15. And negative 24 divided by 2 is negative 12. And there is your answer. Alright, so now you can do the rest of your homework, and all of it can be done on the same page, okay, but the homework for midpoint, okay, PT is point, so midpoint, so its homework is going to be (23) through 33 odd. Alright, so that's your homework then for that. So, in case you didn't write it down initially, okay, in case you didn't want to pause the video, distance formula was 3 through 11 odd. Midpoint is 23 through 33 odd. Alright, so that is the last section we'll be covering. Like I said, I'll give you guys some review problems sometime early next week to do, but this is not due until next week, probably Wednesday, but I will let you guys know for sure. So have a great day.